The main obstacle between you and the life you want to live is just one thing, and that is your mindset. Now, there's this one mindset that literally changed my life immediately. And no, it's not hustle culture or some toxic productivity trick. It's actually something really simple. But once it clicked, I could never go back. Now, if you feel stuck, lost, or you feel like life is happening to you, this is the wake-up call you've been needing. Now today I want to share with you a mindset shift that genuinely changed how I showed up in the world. I went from drifting, overthinking, reacting to things that happen, to feeling more in control and back at the driver's seat of my life. And no, I didn't take cold showers, I didn't read a book a week, nor did I listen to any motivational speech that completely changed my life. I just changed the way I looked at responsibility. And that simple change literally flipped the switch on my entire life. And I'm going to show you how. As humans, usually for the first 18 years of our lives or more, we're usually under the care of someone. It could be your parent, it could be your guardian, but in essence, that person is responsible for you. For most of us, during this first phase of life, we tend to grow accustomed to having an external figure directing and being responsible for our lives. They tend to dictate how things go, and you're literally left at the backseat of your own life, hopefully enjoying the ride until the driver stops the car, throws you out, and drives off. Welcome to adulthood. And with the old driver gone, we tend to look for other drivers to basically hold them responsible for our lives. This could be the government, your boss, the economy, and for some, your parents. We allow these figures to take the driver's seat of our own lives and thereby allowing them to take us to wherever they want to go. And I can bet you that most of the time, they will drive you to the direction that benefits them, and you being only an afterthought or even a no thought. And for a really long time, I felt like I had no control over my life. I felt like I was drifting to the tune of someone else and not going in a direction that felt genuinely authentic to me. And that was until I discovered that at any point in time, I always had the power, and you do too, to take ownership. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, responsibility is about having an internal locus of control. Now, what is an internal locus of control? This is basically the belief that your actions, decisions, and efforts have a direct impact on the outcome you experience. This is essentially the belief of cause and effect, or also sowing and reaping your actions. Responsibilities is basically about you accepting your role as the CEO of your own life, or as I like to call it, your Fortune Me 100 company. Now, without accepting responsibility, you literally have no drive or any reason to actually make changes to your own life. Now, responsibility actually tends to come from the word responsive. And when you are responsive, you know that nothing changes until you do. Because when you say you are responsible for something, what you are inadvertently doing is you're accepting the control over that thing. When you decide to take responsibility for your health, your fitness, your well-being, and your finances, you're essentially taking the power to enforce your desired changes in these areas of life. Now, when you decide to make another person responsible, what you're actually doing is that you are given this power to enforce change to others. Anytime you blame somebody else for anything that's going on in your life, like take for example your eating habits. If you blame McDonald's for making really good food, you're actually forfeiting your role to play in actually improving your diet and in effect improving your health. When you blame or pass the responsibility to somebody else, you are actually requiring the other person to change in accordance to what you want. And back to the same examples of McDonald's, you can only expect McDonald's to make junk burgers just because you like it too much. That is actually not possible unless you are maybe the president. But when you accept the responsibility of what you put into your body, you have actually accepted your role as the key change factor in your own life. Responsibility is about knowing the difference between what you are in charge of and what you aren't. Sometimes things happen in your life that you had no part to play in. Like maybe someone being hit by a drunk driver. The person being hit wasn't responsible for why he or she was actually hit by the drunk driver, but that person is responsible for what happens after. Maybe the drunk driver will pay for damages and take you to the hospital, hopefully, and cover your healthcare bills. But that person is not going to do the rehab for you. That person is not going to be the one to decide to take the drugs to get better. That role of being the change agent in your own life falls back into your own hands, regardless of whatever caused the situation in the first place. It could be your gender, it could be your race, it could be your background. At the end of the day, you are the main change agent of your life. Now, there are 5 major truths that actually help me in this mindset shift of accepting responsibility. And the first big truth: the universe isn't fair and doesn't owe you anything. But it doesn't really matter the hand that you're dealt with. It doesn't matter if you were born from a particular race, if you're from a particular country, if you're a particular gender. All of these things do not really matter, because the universe literally owes you no explanations, and life honestly isn't fair. But accepting this fact and understanding that, okay, roger that, this is the hand I've been dealt with, is my job and my responsibility to max it out to its fullest potential. That is the role that we have as humans. Now, another big truth is the fact that you are the common denominator in most of your problems. Whatever you're complaining about, or whatever you think that is a recurring issue in your life, most times is not the other person. It's actually a you problem. And when you accept the fact that a majority of the problems that you do have is most likely a direct or indirect cause and effect relation to you and your actions. And another big truth is the fact that no one is coming to save you. You are actually the main James Bond in your own movie. And the truth of the matter is that if you do not take action in your own life, you would inevitably find yourself at the same place and not really growing or progressing when you do not accept the responsibility of your growth and progress. And another big truth is that not taking responsibility is pleasurable in the short term, but always leads to more pain in the end. It's always easy to pass the blame to somebody else, but the fact remains that the consequences is going to be 100% felt by you. So personally, I have a mental framework, which is the person that has a lot to lose or suffer from something, that is the one that should take the most responsibility for that thing. If you keep on blaming your parents or your background for why your life is not the way you want it, you can blame as much as you want, but at the end of the day, you are the one that will suffer the consequences for having a crappy life. Okay, I'm sorry if that might sound a bit intense, but it just needs to be said. Now, I know you are probably wondering, okay, Bernard, how do I take more responsibility over my own life? And one of the things that I like to use is, first of all, it's your fault. And one of the things I like to do is, anything that happens to me in my life, be it good, be it bad, I automatically say, you know what, Bernard, it's your fault. Even if it might not even have been, should I say, marginally related to me, but if I'm suffering the consequences of it, it's my fault. Even if I was not the cause of whatever that happened to me, if I'm the one that's suffering it, it's my fault. And this way of thinking actually automatically directs your mind into ways that you might have contributed to whatever it is that you are going through. Like, take for example, if maybe I wrote an exam and it didn't really pan out the way I wanted to, and when you use this mental framework and you say it's my fault, you will always look for ways to find out why it's your fault. Yeah, maybe you didn't study well, maybe you slept really late, and because of that it really messed with your ability to think during the exam. Maybe you spent a lot of time reading the wrong thing. When you have automatically decided that it's your fault, we are creative. You will look for ways to find out why it's your fault. And the same goes in the opposite direction. If you blame somebody else, you always look for ways to actually shift the blame to them. Because humans, we are very creative. So you can use this creativity to your advantage or to your disadvantage. Another way to actually take responsibility is by taking ownership. Yeah, it's by seeing yourself like a CEO. And what does a CEO do? A CEO basically is responsible for growing the assets of a company. So I want you to imagine yourself like a company. Are you an appreciating asset or a depreciating asset? And whatever spectrum you fall on is determined by your actions as a CEO in your own life. And another way to take responsibility is accepting the things you cannot change. Yeah, I think I've said this a lot. Yeah, there's quite a number of things that you can't change, but the fact remains is there are a lot of things that is within your power that you can change. Our wisdom nugget for the week: for every man shall bear his own burden. And guys, if you like this video, I really think you're going to like this video about why you always feel lazy and how to fix it. And guys, if any points resonated with you, I would love to see what you think about it in the comment section. And please don't forget to like the video. It helps with the algorithm, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. And like always, guys, remember to always keep it real. Bye, guys.